Evening draped the ridge in ochre light. Dust spiraled from dry dirt, curling in the dying wind. She struggled against the rope, raw wrists burning, knuckles white. Eyes wide, darting, scanning the silent town. No one. Only the wind answered. She whispered a name, soft, trembling, hoping someone, anyone, remembered. She collapsed. No scream, no name. Just fear. The rope bit into her skin. Her breaths came ragged, shallow. Boots echoed across the gravel. A shadow appeared on the ridge horizon. A lone figure, broad-shouldered, stoic. Shotgun resting across his lap. Eyes like burned wood, cold, calculating. He paused. No words. Only the weight of years pressed into his posture. Past ghosts tangled in his spine. Loss he carried like iron. Horses snorted somewhere down the ridge. Windows shuddered against the wind. The town waited, silent, suspended. She shivered. Hands trembling. Dust clinging to sweat and blood. The rancher stepped closer, crunch of gravel under boots. Short, careful strides. Every movement deliberate. He stopped a few feet away, watching the rope sway against the late sun. He didn't speak. He never did unless words carried weight. A faint laugh drifted from the banker's office across the empty street. Light, taunting, enough to curl fear into her chest. She flinched. He noticed. Tilted his head slightly. Eyes scanning horizon, ridge road, tree line. Calculating, predicting. She swallowed. Air bitter with dust. Faint smoke curling from abandoned chimneys. Time held its breath. She was fragile, yet present. He was ready. Both waiting. Who would act first? Who would survive the long shadows stretching over this ridge? The wind whispered through the shutters. Tonight would decide something no one could name. The cabin door creaked as he pushed her inside. Dust motes floated in the fading light, settling over splintered floorboards. She pressed herself against the wall, eyes wide, refusing to speak. No words. No motion beyond shallow, quick breaths. He moved carefully, boots scuffing against the worn wood. Letters lay scattered on a table, edges torn, ink smudged. A rope frayed at the end hung from a peg. Signs of tampering everywhere. He examined them silently, methodical. No words, just signs. He'll be back. Her eyes darted at shadows. A flicker near the window. A slight movement outside. Fear clung to her like a second skin. He noticed. Tilted his head. Stoic, steady. She flinched and pulled the sleeve of her worn dress over her wrists. He made no sound, just watched, waiting. A flashback. Lantern light flickered over the saloon. The banker's voice low, hissing. Threats whispered. Forced evictions. Families displaced. Her past had scars he could not yet touch. Back in the present, his hand brushed aside a fallen letter and revealed a small, hidden locket, half buried in dust. A link to her old injustice. She stared at it, trembling, voice caught somewhere between past and present. A horse whinnied outside. Distant, urgent, someone was watching. She stiffened. He moved a step closer, not touching, not speaking. Just presence, solid, grounding, unyielding. A bond began to form in the quiet, fragile spaces between them. Dust stirred in the cabin, sunlight fading, tension thickening. The cabin was quiet, but the wind rattled the shutters, carrying the scent of dust and distant smoke. He stirred the fire, flames crackling against the hearth, casting long shadows across worn floorboards. Coffee boiled over the stove, bitter and black, the aroma filling the small room. She huddled on the corner bench, fingers brushing the edge of the locket, eyes wide yet hesitant. Memories flickered through his mind. Past and present folded together. His wife's last words soft, trembling. Protect them. No matter what, he had failed once before. The same gang had taken everything. Barn, home, laughter, life itself. Now he watched over this girl, fragile, wary, and already scarred by her own losses. Her village had burned. Kin taken. The fire had left ash in her hair and silence in her voice. Slowly, she began to speak in fragments, clipped, cautious. He came, took everything. The words fell heavy in the room. He listened, nodding once. No commentary. Just presence. Each syllable etched pain into the space between them, mirrored by his own hidden wounds. Dust shifted under boots as he moved to the stove. The wolf's distant howl cut through the ridge air. Sparks from the fire leapt upward, briefly illuminating her face, fragile but alive. Short, punchy sentences, no words, no questions, just listening. A wagon rattled down the ridge road, wheels clattering over gravel. Foreshadowing. The banker's influence stretched farther than either could see. Shadows lingered in every corner, in every glance. Yet, slowly, trust began to thread its way through the tension. She shifted slightly, closer to the warmth, and he poured another cup. Both knew the past would not easily release its grip, but small gestures, coffee poured, locket held, hinted at beginnings of a fragile bond. The cabin door thumped. A messenger, dust-covered, words clipped. The banker's men had scouted the ridge. Silence answered him, only the wind rattling shutters, stirring loose boards. She trembled, shoulders tight, eyes darting at every shadow. He moved to the corner, hands steady, lifting the shotgun across his lap. Click. Chambered. Short sentences, fast rhythm. No words. No questions. Just action. He motioned toward the tree line. They slipped out, crouching low, dust crunching faintly beneath boots. Her grip on his sleeve was tight. "They'll find us," she whispered, voice barely audible. He nodded once, steady, unflinching. From the ridge, the gang appeared, horses kicking up clouds of dust, laughter cutting through the quiet air, careless, arrogant, unaware. Sun glinted off spurred boots and rifles, their confidence a dangerous foil to the quiet tension. He scanned each face, mind tracing memories, past gunfire tearing through barn walls, splintered wood under frenzied feet, a burned saloon, the echoes of screams long silenced. Each flashback sharp, punctuated by the present threat. The girl pressed closer. Dust clung to her hair, sweat streaking her dirt-smeared cheeks. He steadied her with a glance, a single line of reassurance without words. In the shadows, one gang member paused, hesitated. Eyes flicked, almost regretful. A micro-twist. Not all were heartless. Branches scraped against skin as they moved, crunching over hidden rocks, keeping low. The sun dipped toward the ridge, shadows lengthening, tension coiling tighter. Every hoofbeat, every laugh, every creak of leather on saddle reminded them both danger was near. But patience could be a weapon. He waited. She watched, silent. The ridge road stretched ahead, uncertain. The threat was close, immediate, yet not yet fully revealed. Their breath mingled with the cold wind. He dipped a soaked cloth into the ink, tracing symbols on a folded piece of parchment. Each stroke deliberate, careful. The coded message would ride fast, carried to old allies who remembered loyalty. Outside, thunder rumbled low, distant at first, rolling across the ridge. The sky darkened, clouds roiling like old wounds. She leaned against the rough wood wall, fingers tight around the locket. Voice low, gaining steadiness. He took everything. Our land, our kin. Nothing left. She paused, eyes meeting his. If you're still here listening, you'll understand. Short, punchy lines cut the tension. Words measured, weighted. Each sentence a heartbeat in the storm building outside. Flashback flared in his mind. Loss he had carried for years. Barn burned, family gone, a silence that screamed. Past pain taught him patience. Present demanded courage. He poured coffee, bitter and black, its steam curling into the cold air. Fire crackled, shadows dancing across floorboards. He set the cup beside her, steady hands brushing dust from the edge. Outside, wind rattled shutters, bending them with sudden gusts. Short lines punctuated the rising tension. Storm comes. We wait, he'll return. Hooves clattered faintly in the distance, someone approaching, deliberate, urgent. The girl flinched. He placed a hand on the table, firm but non-threatening. Moral weight pressed down. Would he risk all to protect her? To face the banker's reach once more? Lightning split the sky, illuminating the ridge road for a heartbeat. Dust and anticipation mingled. Each sound, each shadow, each flicker of light spoke. The storm was not only outside, it was coming for them. They waited, hearts tight, senses sharp. Wind, fire, thunder, patience and courage intertwined. Every breath a calculation, every glance a measure of trust. The ridge held its silence. Tension wound tighter with each passing second. Dust erupted across the ridge road as the gang appeared, a cloud of hooves and sun-glinting rifles. The first shot cracked. Bang! A horse reared. Screech. She ducked behind a fallen crate. Heart hammering. Duck. Run. Short, jagged sentences carried the rhythm of chaos. He moved with deliberate precision. Shotgun across lap, sliding between tree line and barn wall. Flashbacks tore through his mind. Barn doors splintered, wife's scream echoing, fire devouring everything he loved. This time he would not hesitate. Every breath measured. Every step deliberate. Bullets ricocheted, sparking off wood, metal, and stone. Smoke curled into the evening air. Dust whipped along the ridge road, stinging eyes. Hooves pounded as the gang advanced, careless in their confidence. One laughed, then faltered, hesitation in his movement. A betrayal? Yes. The man turned subtly, lowering his rifle at the wrong moment. A micro-twist the rancher noted, adjusting position immediately. She spotted a knife, discarded in the dust. Fingers trembling, she grabbed it, a symbol of emerging agency. Short glances exchanged with the rancher, silent understanding. Sparks from ricochets caught in the dying sun, slow-motion flickers, fire, smoke, dust. Wind whipped, carrying the smell of gunpowder, leather, and fear. The banker's shadow loomed, just out of sight, watching from somewhere beyond the ridge. Stakes spiked, protect the girl, survive, exact vengeance for the past. Shots flew closer, hitting the barn wall, ricocheting, splinters spraying. Short punchy beats, bang, duck, roll, fire. She crouched, knife tight, ready if needed, every move calculated. Every pause a heartbeat. Silence and chaos intertwined. The ridge itself seemed to hold its breath. Finally, as dust settled in thin layers across boots and hemmed skirts, the immediate threat ebbed, but the shadow lingered. Danger had been met, yet was far from gone. Sun crested over the ridge, pale light spilling across scattered dust and splintered wood. Silence reigned, broken only by crows cawing and the wind sighing through broken shutters. Injured men lay slumped against barrels and fallen crates, groaning softly. The banker was gone, vanished into the distance, but his threat lingered like smoke. She knelt, hands trembling, tending to minor scrapes and bruises herself. Careful, deliberate, each touch measured. Slowly, tension softened. Trust began to thread between her and the stoic figure beside her. He handed her a cup of bitter coffee, fire crackling behind him, sparks flickering in the dim morning light. She sipped, warmth spreading, small comfort amidst the aftermath. "You'll be safe, for now," he said, voice low, gravelly, carrying weight but no more words. Repetition lingered, no words, no questions, just survival. She nodded, fingers brushing the rim of the cup, gaze flicking to the ridge road. Dust motes danced in shafts of light. The ridgeline held a distant shimmer, dust rising. Someone or something approaching, foreshadowed danger. Both noticed. Silent acknowledgement passed between them. Trauma remained etched in their expressions. Yet redemption glimmered in quiet acts. Coffee poured, hands tending, presence unwavering. The ridge breathed with them. Each gust of wind a reminder of past loss and present protection. Shadows of yesterday's chaos lingered in the corners, but the small cabin, fire, and shared silence offered fragile hope. Recovery was slow. Pain remained. But the day had begun anew, and survival, however tentative, was theirs for the moment. Sunrise painted the ridge gold and amber. Two silhouettes stood on the porch, one small, hesitant, the other broad and still. The Apache girl's voice, stronger now, cut through the quiet. "Who are you in this story?" He did not answer. Only the weight of silence, heavy, deliberate. Her question hung between them, moral gravity pressing. Vengeance or protection, past or present. Every line of his stance spoke more than words could. The camera would have lingered, ridge stretching endless. The burned barn a dark scar against morning light. The town quiet, empty, yet bearing memory of chaos. Dust settled on roof tiles, wind twisting through broken shutters. Short, punchy cadence, no words, no answers, just reflection. She took a step forward. Free, yet marked by scars, both visible and hidden. Fingers brushed the locket once more, a reminder of what she had endured. Eyes scanning horizon, wary yet unbowed. He watched, silent, steady. "If you're still here listening, remember courage isn't loud." "It's steady," she whispered, voice carrying both lesson and caution. The ridge seemed to breathe with the truth of her words. Every shadow, every remnant of fire and dust, a testament to survival and choice. The banker's shadow was gone for now, but lingering dust on the horizon reminded them both. Some threats never fully fade. Closure came with uncertainty, reflection with risk. They stood, two figures framed by dawn, caught between past and future, ready to step into whatever came next.